Have you used External Service Management on SAP? Do you know what is a model service specification? You will know it by the end of this video. Have you seen my last video? We have talked about SAP third-party process. Check it out. Also, if you don't want to miss any of these videos again, please subscribe and turn on notifications.
The External Service Management is an application component of the material management, and it supports end-to-end processes. The process starts with determination of requirements. A need for certain services can arise in a user department of your enterprise within the framework of a project, like in PS, or with regard to regular maintenance work, like in PM. Or the user department can either prepare a purchase requisition itself. If you create contracts for services or for material group, they can be used as a source of determination. Then the process goes on with requests for quotations that can be sent to vendors and the maintenance of quotations, where you can identify who is the winner. When you have selected your vendor, you can create a PO and start with the procurement process. When the service is performed, normally you will receive an invoice from the vendor. And in this case, you will enter the service entry sheet. This will be the equivalent of the good received in the normal process. Then an additional step, the service acceptance is needed. In this case, this function can be split into different roles. One role, like a data entry, can just complete in the system the service entry sheet, but then another higher level can perform the checks on the service accomplishment. At the end, the invoice verification will be posted and the vendor can be paid. This process is very similar to the material purchasing processes with some differences, like the service entry sheet and the limits that can be entered during the process. We will see this more in details during this video. Let's start with our master data. For that, we go in our menu, Logistics, Material Management, Service Masters, Service, and transaction is AC03. Here, we can create our services. For that, we're going to click on Create New Service. And here we have the screen of the Service Master. We see we have different views, and it will be similar to the Material Master, but very, very few fields. So to start with, we need a service description, for example, patent work, and a service category that we can choose. A base unit of measure, and this is a painting work, will be square meters. Here we have this flag, short text change allowed. If we click this one, the description can be also changed during the document entries. Then we have service groups, and we can use 007 as services. Valuation class is the same as for material management, and we can use, for example, 3200. Here we have also standard service catalogs. The explanation of this will be a little more complex, but let me know in the comments if you would like that I create a video specifically for this topic. Then we have time management, other purchasing data that can be entered, and a long text. Here we're also in a position where we can save our record. And here we have our service masters created, 100250. Let's go now on change mode. And we see that here that we have a formula. A formula can be useful to determine the quantity based on some variables. Let's go and check this in more details. For that, let's go to customizing. And here we have material management, external services, and here we have formulas for quantity determination. Here we have 2 points, define formulas and specify names of formula variables. So let's take a look here, and we want to define now a formula to calculate the square meter. So we will use length x width. So we will use variables L, x times B. So we go to define our formula, make a new entry, and will be square meter, description of calculation of square meter, and we're going to say this is calculated as length x times width, and the unit of measure will be square meters, and we save it. So here we have our formula M2. And then in the next point, and here we have the second step. We can reuse B as width and L as length, and we're going to copy to our formula. So we are going to copy this variable to our formula square meter. This is for width. And now let's do the same for the length. Copy to square meter. And then we save. So now we have our formula and 2 variables defined. So we can go back to our service, go in change mode, let's call it again. So it is refreshed. And here we have our M2 or square meter formula. Okay, this is safe. The same as in materials, we can create conditions as we don't have info records for services. So here, under services, we have service condition, vendor with plan, without plan, or different entries. So we're going to use vendor with plan. So for our purchase organization and our vendor and our plant, we're going to use the service that we just created, and we're going to say that the cost is €2 per square meter. And we have the validity period. And we can save. Let's jump into the system and let's start with our process. First of all, we are going to create a purchase requisition, a transaction ME51N. Account assignment, we're going to use K as for cost center. And item category, we're going to use D, specific for services. So we do not need to enter a material number, but we need to provide a short text, like painting work. Our plant, you see already that the unit of measure AU and material group 007 is already determined, but we still have not entered our service master record. So these are another config to determine these default values. We have purchasing group, our fixed vendor 1111 that we already create a pricing condition record, and our purchasing org. Okay, now we see at item level that we have all the same tabs that we have for materials, but in the case of services, we have these two, services and limits. So for item 10, now we have also lines available. So we're going to the first line, and we're going to use our service master record. That, if you remember, we have a formula to determine the quantity with two variables. So now the system is asking for the length. So let's say that we want to paint a wall of 10 meters length. And now it's asking for the width. Let's say it's 3-meter width. So it will be like 30 square meters. GL account 417 was determined, and we introduce cost center. So let's take a look now to the line with more details. As you can see, the short text painting work is available to be changed. This is because we flag the specific field in the service master to be allowed to change it. The quantity is gray out because it was automatically determined based on our formula, 30 square feet. And you can also see that our price was automatically determined based on our condition records of 2 euros per square meter. So at the end, we will have 60 euros of total price. And here you will include all the planned services, all the services that you already know upfront that you will require for your vendor. Then here we have the limits, and this is used for the unplanned services, the one you don't know, but you still want to reserve a certain amount of money for that. Let's say that we're using 10 euros as overall limit for the unplanned services. We also need to put the same in expected value. Expected value will be used if you have release strategies. This field will be considered, and also in controlling for the commitments. So we have 10 euros as limits and 60 euros as planned services. So let's make an enter here. And here we see that now we have GL account 4171. That is different from the account from the service master. We're going to introduce the same cost center. Okay, and now we are in a position to save. And here we have our purchase requisition created. Now let's go to customizing and let's check these default values and the account determination. So here under Material Management and External Service Management, we have source determination and default values that you can set for client or our purchasing organizations. Here in our purchasing organization 1000, you can set different options, but you have here the increment in service line and also a default value for the material group and for the unit of measure. In the other point that we were talking about under account determination, we have configure automatic postings. So let's check our account assignment. In this case, it will be for GBB, offsetting entries for inventory posting in our chart of accounts INT. And we're going to search for valuation modification 0001, general modification BBR, and valuation class 3,200. And here we have the 417 account that was determined for the service. Okay. And then we have the other account 4171 that was determined for the unplanned services. So from where that it's coming, there is some settings in purchasing, material master, where you can have entry aids for item without a material master. So here it is taking the material group 007, and we have a different valuation class. In this case, it's 3210. So for 3210, we can check the same. In GBB, VVR 3210, and here we have the other account 4171. This is how the system is determining the accounting. Okay, we have our requisition created, this one. So now we can go on with the process and create our PO with reference to this requisition. See, vendor was determined, so we have everything already in place. And here we have our services. Okay, 30 square meters for a total of 60 euros, and we have our limits of 10 euros. Also here in delivery, by default, based on the account assignment settings, we have the GAT receipt non-valuated. But if you want to post an accounting document during the service entry sheet when it is accepted, you will have to unflag this one. So now we can save. And we have our PO number. This is sent to the vendor, and then the vendor will perform the services that was requested. At a certain point, we will receive the invoice from the vendor saying that the service was already performed. So we will need to enter our service entry sheet. In this case, transaction is ML81N. And here it will be based on our purchase order. And we are going to create our service entry sheet. It will be for painting work. And we're going to call the service selection from our PO. And here we have our service master created. And it is asking again to determine the quantity, our two variables. So 10 and 3 meters. So we're going to say that the vendor provide the same service as we requested. So here we have, and this is the planned. You can see here in this column, planned service is thick. And now we can say that there was an additional service that was not planned. And if you remember, we set up a limit of 10 euros for unplanned services. Let's say they make some kind of cleaning in the process, 1 unit of cleaning, 10 euros. And see, 10 euros is allowed because this was our maximum. If we should have entered 11 euros, you see that we have an error, okay? Because it goes over our limit. So let's leave it back again to 10 euros. Okay, so now we can save our service entry sheet, but you still see that it is in red. It is not accepted. So one role, like a data entry, can create first all this service entry sheet from the vendors. Okay, here we have our service entry sheet. And then a different person will control and, let's say, authorize this document. So it will go in change mode again. And now with the green flag, you're going to accept it. You see, will be accepted. So now we can save, updating purchasing data. And now we see that our service entry sheet was accepted. From here, we can also go to our purchase order history document. And you see here we have the service entry sheet by 70 and also our material document that in this time is valuated as we unflag the good received non-valuated option. Here we have our financial documents, accounting documents. And you see that here we have our two entries. So this is debit GBB BBR and credit to GRAR WRX transaction. WRX transaction. Okay. So now the service entry sheet was created and posted also in finance. If for any reason now you want to make changes in the service entry sheet, you first will go to back and revert the acceptance. And only then you will be able to make a change in the service entry sheet and it will have to be accepted again. Now to finish, at the end, we will need to create our invoice verification. So we are going to transaction mirror. So for today, we have our reference, amount of 70, and we call our PO. And you see already is in green, so we can see a simulation. And we are debiting the GRIR, and we are crediting our supplier's account. So now we can save, and we have our invoice posted. So if we take a look again to our PO, we will see the purchase order history. Now we have our service entry sheet, then we have our good receipt for 70, and then our invoice receipt also for 70. The model service specification is considered master data under External Service Management. And it can be defined like a model or template where you can store all the specifications for a set of services. Let's go and create one. We're going to call it software 001, and we select a service category. We can choose a material group, and then we have to populate all our services. Here we have the outline on/off option, but first we need to introduce this short text. Let's call it software installation. Okay. And now here you will have to build all the structure of all your templates for the services. So right click and create new subgroup. it will be hierarchy level 1. So let's call it 001. And let's say web access or software installation. Okay, this is our first level. So now we create another subgroup, and it will be hierarchy level 002. So 001, under that 01, and we can call this one like web access. And it will be the service setup, a web access, and it will require like 0.5 of an hour. Here you can use services without service number or with service number. Okay. And now let's create another group, but under the first level, new subgroup. Okay, so we're still on hierarchy level number 2. So it will be 001 and now 02. Let's call it Office Setup, Microsoft Office Setup. Yeah, and here we have two tasks: install or install Office. It will be 2 hours, and then set up Outlook mail. It will be 0.5 of an hour. Okay, and in this way you can create all your hierarchies with all your services. At the end we saved, and we have our model service specification SW001 created. Then when you are creating a requisition or a PO, you can call directly that model. So let's go again with item category K, item category D, account assignment K. It will be software installation. And now instead of typing the text or calling a requisition in this case, we can call the service selection, and instead calling from requisition as we did before, we are using the model service specification that we just created. And here it will open all your structure with all your levels. So let's say that at this point we want to only set up the Microsoft Office. So we select both tasks and we adopt these services. We have to enter a price. So let's say 50 euros per hour. Cost center, 1000. And the same for the second line. 50 euros per hour in our cost center. And that's it. This is how we use our model service specification.
If you enjoyed this video, please give a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also turn on notifications. See you next time. Bye.